Greetings, denizens of the tri-state area. Jacob Weil here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Dragon, I know what we're going to do today. We're going to activate the Recap-inator and discuss my favorite cartoon, Phineas and Ferb. That's right, in honor of the 15th anniversary and in preparation for the revival that is now upon us, I'm guiding Blue Dragon 5 here through the series, experiencing his reactions, watching it for the first time, and reliving my summer memories through the years. Today's episode is O.W.C.A Files. Dragon, what do you think of this potential spin-off?
I think it's missing a the.
Well, the official title doesn't list a the.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that's my thoughts on the episode. I think it's missing a the.
So that's just an observation on my editing, on my thumbnail making skills.
No.
All right, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So yeah, clearly a spin-off attempt.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I love our guest star. So
Yep.
yeah.
You talked about him recently too.
Yes, I did.
So yeah. So as you guessed, this is actually like Doof 101 earlier in the season. This episode was kind of like a backdoor pilot, almost like, or an intended backdoor pilot to potential spin-off series.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to remind me. So when did they get the news that there wasn't going to be more Phineas and Ferb?
I think they never exactly explicitly mentioned, but I think it was like during the fourth season where they either didn't want to Dennis didn't want to do more of the series, or Disney didn't renew them, because sometimes they renew them early within the seasons. Usually, sometimes it's all over the place when it comes to Disney's renewals and all that.
So you don't officially know then.
Well, I said the thing is, I've heard conflicting things about it. Like earlier, like around this time, it was Dan and Swampy's decision to end the show.
All right.
But recently, they received a call like, why don't we do more of these? And we're like, yeah, I didn't know the answer to that. It's like, so I've heard conflicting things, like maybe they wanted to end it at the time, but over the years their stance has changed, and obviously their stance did change for whatever reason, and now we actually do have a season 5 and 6.
It doesn't really track that they would want to end the show if they're doing a bunch of these spin-off pilots.
Well, it's like they wanted to end like Phineas and Ferb's adventures. They wanted to focus on the other aspects, obviously, like O.W.C.A Files and all that. Or Doof 101. Doof 101 was another potential idea.
All right.
And as you may have mentioned, you probably picked up, this is for the longest time the last episode they actually aired. This aired after the final episode, and I know what you're thinking. We're doing this before the last episodes. But the thing is, that's the way Disney Plus has them right now.
And that's the way you wanted to cover this, right?
I mean, yes. I mean, especially considering I kind of wanted to end our recap on last day of summer anyway. So it actually kind of worked out for us, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's like, so yeah. It's kind of interesting where idea of like, what if this actually did, spin up, was a successful series launch kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, makes you kind of wonder, and even the still images at the end kind of make like, what could have been? Could this have actually stood on its own as a standalone series? I mean, what do you think?
Well, the launch spin-off episodes are always kind of a fun thing in sitcoms and TV shows. So rarely do they ever work, though. Let's be honest. So rarely do they actually take off and turn into spin-offs. Not impossible, but as rarely does it work.
Well, I mean, there's literally a spin-off that's been going on for over 30 years.
Well, yeah, I said rarely. I didn't say it never happened.
I know, and wasn't like the other examples of successful spin-offs be like, is Happy Days considered a spin-off?
Happy Days.
Or like I know it has spin-offs of its own, but
No, I don't think you mean Happy Days. I think you mean like Mork and Mindy or Jungle Chachi maybe. But no,
all right.
Happy Days isn't a spinoff.
It's like I think it had. I think it
No,
had.
Mork and Mindy is a spinoff from Happy Days. That's how that works. And Laverne and Shirley, there was the one I think you're thinking of. That's a spinoff of Happy Days.
All right, I think that. Okay, maybe that's what I was thinking of.
That's what I'm saying. Those two are usually go-tos, like Laverne and Shirley or Mork and Mindy. Because that's literally like they just did one episode for the heck of it. Let's throw a spaceman in there because my kid loves Star Wars.
And then it became Mork.
Yeah.
Mork for Mork.
So Robin Williams owes a lot to George Lucas.
Yep.
Not only that, you ever hear that Robin Williams was almost in Howard the Duck?
I didn't.
You know,
It's probably a good thing in the end that he didn't end up in that movie.
would you like to know why he's not in Howard the Duck?
Why?
All right, so he was on set, and he was basically they brought him on. He was getting ready to kind of do the voice and stuff, or at least I don't know if he was just checking things out before he ended up doing the voice, or he was going to provide the voice on set maybe.
Was he supposed to be Howard? Was he supposed to be Howard?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was supposed to. Howard the Duck was, the original voice of Howard the Duck was going to be Robin Williams, and he was on the set, either feeling things out, or was like there was like going to do it like on set for everyone before he does the actual record booth. So he's on the set, and Tim Rose, the guy who played Admiral Akbar, he played Howard the Duck. He was the puppeteer. Well, I mean, he was, he kind of did the radio controls and stuff for, for the duck costume. At the very least, Howard Duck was originally be more puppet than he was kind of suit. But, in certain shots, anyway. The point being, Tim Rose is there, and Robin Williams just kind of have a little fun with it. He's just doing some wacky voices, just playing around with it. And the director is he's lambasting and like, Rose, you son of a, how many times have I told you to stop that stupid crap and all that? And Robin Williams just kind of turned to Tim Rose and he said, like, is that what it's like on set? And Tim Rose, just without missing a beat, says, well, that's actually him on a good day.
Yeah, man.
And then Robin Williams just said, okay, I do not want to be part of this production. Like, the director was just a very unhappy man.
Well, he was working on Howard the Duck.
I know, that's why he was a very unhappy man, but that's why.
Well, that makes sense.
See, I wonder if that movie would have been better had they gone the puppet, like the Phil Tippett puppet route they wanted to.
Well, no way to know.
Yeah, I guess technically a blend of stop motion and puppetry, but
And we're not even gotten to the episode. We've already gone off on our first tangent.
Speaking of tangents,
Yes.
spinning off from that, Freakazoid had a similar thing. Freakazoid, they the first season of Freakazoid, they launched a bunch of potential pilots. None of them took, but they launched them.
Like the Johnny Quest parody.
Yep, the Johnny Quest parody.
I forget its name.
Danger was well. I know there was Dick Danger on the team, but it was something Danger. It was God, I'm trying to. It was I don't know if it was Donnie Danger or Danny Danger. They had like the point being you had there was the it was the Danger kind of parody of Johnny
Toby
Quest.
Danger.
Toby Danger, that's it, Toby. Anyway, so there's Toby Danger. There was Lawn Gnomes. Which cracks me up. Then they had, like Lord Bravery was kind of a segment, so that's not really a spin-off proposal. But those two actually were spin-off proposals: Lawn Gnomes and Toby Danger. I'm sure there were a few others. Just a question of did they turn into running gags, or were they actual kind of spin-off pitches that then ended up turning into running gags?
Yeah, right.
Like Lord Bravery just feels like a segment that did actually come back, and you got the Huntsman. The Huntsman feels like it could have been maybe a potential spinoff, maybe.
I mean the way it comes across on the show is like it's another like kind of way to do like the variety show style that Animaniacs did, but in a different way.
Sure.
Because speaking of, Animaniacs did have its own spinoff, Pinky and the Brain,
and then that got a spinoff.
Pinky Elmira and the Brain, which is also a crossover with Tiny Toons.
Yes.
It's amazing how that worked out, and nobody involved wanted it to be made.
Nope.
Except Warner Brothers.
Well, yes.
Nobody involved wanted it made.
Well, one thing that never changes: Warner Brothers wants money.
Well, every company wants money.
Yes.
I mean,
Some like to line their own pockets with all the money.
if Zaslav, who knows what's going to happen with him now?
Bad Zaz.
All right, so
Victor
yeah,
Zaz.
so as I mentioned, Disney never picked this up to a full series, and Dan and Swampy then moved on to create Milo Murphy's Law, which Disney did pick up.
Yep.
So there's that. So there's just basically
Yeah, this is basically the Archie Bunker's place that didn't take off of Phineas and Ferb.
kind of, yeah. So basically just acts as a kind of a standalone story, maybe a what could have been, maybe an alternate universe, and maybe even who knows, maybe even considering what Dan's timeline plays, but it could actually happen after the revival. Who knows?
It's a good point.
So basically, the status of this canonicity is dubious, especially considering from what I've seen, from what little I have seen of the new season, the new Alka facility is not the way it is. The new Alka facility is not the way it is presented in this episode. Like I said, from what little I've seen of it, like
All right.
if that makes sense.
So part one.
So again, this episode was actually just a standalone hour long special. It was not split into two parts on its initial release. But yes, part one.
So we have they have the carnival opening with Brad Platypus.
Yeah.
We have the whole him in the yellow band recruits.
Harry the hyena, Karen the cat, Maggie the macaw,
and Doof the ocelot.
Heinz the ocelot.
All right, fine. Heinz the ocelot.
Yeah. Technically, there's a bit of a continuity snag with that. In the original, he was already like a kid when he was raised. He's like a young kid when he was raised by ocelots. But the picture and the shit they show in the video in the episode shows him as a baby.
Oh, all right.
I mean, it's still raised by ocelots, but it's kind of a little continuity error there. Yep.
Jacob, I think we need to say something. Yep. Dan, Swampy. This is why the show didn't get picked up. When you're making continuity errors like this, Jacob, you tell them. I can't even with them right now. You tell them the magnitude of this guffaw. Tell them how wrong they were for this.
It's just a minor thing. I don't think it's too bad. It's fine. Not really that big. It doesn't really derail the episode too much.
Jacob, look at me.
How can I look at you through a screen?
Do you mind? Jacob,
yeah.
Jacob, you don't put on a brave face. Okay? No one's watching right now. You don't have to put on a brave face. You can tell them how you feel, okay? They're successful. They got the revival. Just tell them how much this decision hurt you. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't really have it's not really that big of a deal to me, to be honest.
He's such a trooper, isn't he, folks? I'm so proud of him. Anyway, back to the episode.
Yes. There's just a minor thing.
See, he's still such a big boy right now.
I don't know if this is condescension or patronization.
Maybe both.
All right. The big baby.
The inexplicable floating baby. Head.
Yep. See, we still got that going. There's no floating baby head in this episode, though.
Well, he had a tremendous rider in his contract. He wanted big hats. It was a whole thing.
So yeah, the new recruits are definitely an interesting bunch, wouldn't you say?
I would. Very diverse lineups. This is this whole idea of the Alka files. Feels very. This is going to spin. Obviously, we're in the era of spin-offs with this, but it very much feels of the '70s. Feels very Mission Impossible. The classic Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
feels very much, kind of like, it's kind of like the band of misfits. I mean, it's not Get Smart, but just kind of in that era of just kind of like the, like kind of the more like the Avengers. No, not those the other Avengers, the ones with the umbrella.
The puppeteer stop motion Avengers.
Yeah,
The British show.
there you go.
I see. I knew who you were talking about.
I know, I'm talking to the audience. Well,
All
I guess the if we had an audience, that's who I'd be talking to.
right. And for anybody in the future watching this,
There you go.
watching the VOD.
Precognitive. All right, so Doofenshmirtz, of course, I love the technicality on Doofenshmirtz here. Is Carl's like, basically the idea of this whole carnival opening was kind of a simulation, was a training exercise, which ultimately Perry he went it alone, so he kind of flunked, and Carl's reading him the right exit. So Carl's taking a lot of initiative here. He's running things pretty smoothly.
Yep, and we find out later. We find out later he might be taking things a bit too far.
Yeah. I mean, Carl's got some pros and cons this episode. He's I think he's on top of this, but he is he's very much he's botching the security at Alka.
Botching the security, the budget.
He's possibly a closeted furry. It's unclear.
Well, I mean, we already covered that in Remains of the Platypus.
You're right. We did.
All this stuff has been previously explored in this show.
Carl's got issues, man.
Which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to get to it now?
Well, no. So
Perry was not supposed to abandon his team, but he did.
That makes a lot of sense for Perry Platypus because he is very much a solo act. We've seen he has trouble working with others.
Yep. So this episode, he actually kind of does develop that a little bit, where the others learn to be better agents and he learns to work as a team.
Yeah. I love, by the way, that Carl's cart looks like him with the glasses.
Little vanity project there for Carl.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's see. So we had what is it? So we have you have the carnival. We have the what is it? The town square.
The riot.
Yeah, town square riot, freeway assault, and escaping the ancient ruins.
Yep.
And we're never going to see these again. So just purge them from your mind, folks. Just a waste of set design. There's no way we're going to do it. It's not in the budget. It's impossible. This is just a pilot for a show. Nowhere could we afford to see them in action. Mark my words. They're just gonna gather celluloid. Just look at them. So,
unfortunately, yeah.
Or digital celluloid or excess pixels. You know what I mean. Anyway, we're just gonna move on. Yeah. So we have a subplot, Jacob, a glorious subplot amidst this episode, a B plot, if you will. What was our B plot?
The B stands for bug.
Yes. Where's Dave Foley when you need him? No, other project. So our 3 returning bugs have returned.
Who if I need to remind you, were previously in Doof 101 and also planned to be in the original series in the first place.
Well, why couldn't this be the spinoff? That's what I think ultimately it should have been. That's a spinoff I would vote for. There's we see these bugs adventures during the Phineas and Ferb show.
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe that would be interesting. I don't know why they didn't go forward with that.
Plus, better yet, to save money, what they could do, we're going to go back into the original Phineas and Ferb episodes.
And just splice the bugs in?
Exactly. It'll be the most... The animators will love it.
Or just have every episode just be the audio version.
Yeah, there you go. Just do we don't see them, but we hear them.
You just get J.K. Simmons, Josh Gad, and Stephen Rudin to a booth and just riff on the episodes.
Exactly. Do the kind of Mystery Science Theater from a bug's perspective.
I would actually like to see that.
Yeah.
But as we all know, the bugs did not make it into the series.
I mean, 2 out of 3 of them have been in Invincible, so it is possible.
All right, we just need to get Josh Gad in there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done adult projects, so he's not too far out of the ballpark there.
Yep.
But I know we've had Stephen Root and obviously J.K. Simmons being the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Root was in the Adam Eve special, right?
Yes.
I just wanted to double check on that. Really, one of the only other places I know him from is Rango. I think he was in that, right?
Well, and also King of the Hill.
What?
Also King of the Hill.
Well, I've never watched King of the Hill.
Like it all?
No.
Yeah, I think you might like it.
I mean, that revival's coming up now too.
Yeah, well, kind of 2 months from now, but like barely 2 months.
Well, coming up, as we've seen footage of it.
Yes.
Dang it, Bobby. That boy ain't right. I know the quotes, obviously. I know some of the quotes, obviously, but
Yeah.
I haven't really seen much of the show itself.
I tell you what.
Like I've only seen like one episode, and that was because it was on like I was at a pizza place and they had it on TV.
Do you remember what episode it was?
I think it was I think it was the one where they go to like a musician's house or something like that.
Hmm.
Or like and Hank plays a song for Peg.
Hmm. Anyway.
It was a musician. It was a real world musician. I know that much.
Was it ZZ Top?
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I think it was Willie Nelson.
Oh, right.
I think that's who it was.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't remember much else about that episode, but I do remember that.
Because this is really funny, and this is like not a political thing. It's just really funny.
Yeah.
There's this whole like election episode of like which is kind of big, just given they're in Texas and everything, and there's this whole thing of like the idea of Hank Hill, very principled, very kind of conservative, but he was okay. Hank Hill, I think is a phenomenal character. It's always kind of hard for me to binge King of the Hill because there's a lot of like refinement that happens, and I think the character was always there, but he really gets brought out like kind of in a sweet spot within the series. But I just love what Mike Judge did for Hank Hill. It's the idea that he is very traditional, but he is fundamentally he's a very good principled man, and it's like he'll learn things here and there. At least he'll kind of you can put him in any situation. I think the two funniest. I think this is going to sound so weird. I think one of the funniest episodes of King of one of my favorite episodes. I never really thought about all of them, like ranked them or anything. The one that always comes to mind is the one where Hank Hill, he accidentally becomes a pimp. And it's like one of the funniest things where he just basically just helping go. It's the great comedy. It's almost Frasier-esque. Just the idea Hank Hill gets himself in these situations just completely unwittingly, but again, just they're being like a nice principled guy, and his people are kind of gravitate towards that, but including the unsavory people sometimes. So like he helps like a young woman out, and she's a prostitute, but he doesn't know that. and basically there's this whole thing where he's like driving a Cadillac, and he's wearing a pimp hat.
Oh,
but again, he just thinks it was a gift, and he's wearing a hat. He sees like her. Basically, she's getting into it with a guy over money. He's just showing up to kind of defend her. It's like, hey, like pay. This is give her the money. And he's the guy who looks at the hat, then he looks at the car. He says, oh yeah, I don't want any trouble. Here you go. Again, just and like his. And his wife gets a makeover from the girl, so now she looks like a prostitute.
It almost sounds like Hank would actually be an unironically good pimp.
Exactly.
It's like he would actually like treat them with respect and all that.
And it's this whole thing where he has to stand up. This is crazy. I forget. I'm blanking on what the guy's stupid name was, but so Snoop Dogg had he guest starred. He played the rival pimp.
Oh God!
It was so weird because Snoop Dogg is like a white pimp, which was just I think it was just even funnier.
Oh,
like the idea of Snoop Dogg, and right now is always this ridiculous issue in the animation industry about the whole race swap thing. But this is kind of funny, where it's just we have Snoop Dogg playing this seemingly this unthreatening white pimp. But again, he has the gravitas of Snoop Dogg, though. So he's, I think it was something Jones. It was some ridiculous something Jones. It's like the anyway. So Hank basically kind of he stands up to the pimp, and it's this whole thing. And at the end, he's
Alabaster Jones.
Alabaster Jones. Alabaster. It's the idea. It's a lot of self-aware was. Yes, we've made Snoop Dogg white, so Alabaster Jones. Anyway, just the idea that after he sells business, he's about to leave, and he sees Peggy Hill, essentially dressed like a hooker, and he says, "Oh, hey, well, how much for her?" or something along like, "Can I steal her away from you to work for me?" or something like that. He says, "That is my wife." "Oh, you made mistake number one. Never marry your employees."
Oh God. That does sound funny.
Anyway, the one I was mentioning before. I sidetracked my sidetrack.
Okay.
So this whole election episode with like him and Luann, played by the dearly missed Brittany Murphy. So basically, he's trying to sell her on voting Bush, or voting is like the election which Bush eventually would become president. He's like Senator Bush at this point, I think. And or Senator or Governor Bush. Anyway, it was Governor Bush. I know I said Senator. Anyway, that guy. So Hank's kind of finally sold her on the idea of at least mainly voting, but also like, hey, here's a good candidate, and she's kind of sold on him. And then he's shaking hands and everything. And of course, Hank Hill being a very old school, very traditional. I don't want to be very clear, not a bigot or anything, but just he's old school in terms of he's very scared of change kind of thing. So he's shaking Governor Bush's hand. And I love how they animated this because it looks perfect. I've had this moment before. Not that I've judged like Hank's about to, but just this. He shakes his hand. Gives him like the firm handshake, but he's horrified when he realizes that Governor Bush, who he really admires and he's rooting for, has an effeminate handshake. He doesn't have a firm handshake, and you kind of see he's got like the wimpy handshake. It just sends him to this tailspin of, oh no, have I backed the wrong horse? God, anyway.
Yep.
So back to this show.
Yep. So
it was Napoleon, Wendell, and Lloyd. They want to
become Alka, to be the first insect agents in Alka.
Yes, and of course, I always say this with these characters: their look, their design. Honestly, in this episode, the humor feels so much like Rocko's Modern Life. I can't stand it in the best of ways. It's like, oh my god, it feels so Rocco.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to state the connection there because we've established it how many times over the past 2.5 years?
A lot.
Yep.
Well, like I said, they're if you look, it always reminds me of the bug episode of Rocco. Rocco kind of befriends a bug, and he has to. It's like one of the grossest secrets. It's kind of gross but funny. And Rocco has to liberate all the bugs at the Big Head's house before Ed Big Head can eat them because he's befriended like the main bug.
Oh yeah, because Ralph Big Head's a frog.
Yeah, and basically Rocco it's like this is Bev Big Head is like offering him bugs. And Rocco has to he has to essentially cheek all the bugs from the big jar. It's like he's shoving them all in his mouth, like pretending he's like, "Oh yes, thank you, Mrs. Big Head," so he can save them.
Is it Rocco's Happy Vermin?
Yeah, it sounds right.
All right,
pretty sure.
Hey, Carlos Rocky actually came up with a story for that one.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Still though. As great an episode as that probably is. I mean, I know it's good. I'm saying amongst the rest of them, it's a funny joke, but let's be honest. Magic Meatball.
Yep.
Nothing will ever top. Did you ever look into the Magic Meatball, Jacob?
No, but I still haven't.
Why?
Because there's other things I want to watch.
More than the Magic Meatball?
I'll watch it soon, okay?
Promises, Jacob. Well, promises.
All right.
Anyway.
Magic Meatball.
The Magic Meatball.
And you say that's like the best episode, or at least the funniest?
Quite possibly, yes.
All right.
At least it's one of my favorites. Might be the funniest. One of the funniest.
And it's funny enough, the only one of the few where Rocco doesn't appear,
Yes.
from what I understand.
God, yes.
What does that say?
Says they have a really good side characters in Rocco.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorites of the one I've seen is the one where Heifer finds out he's adopted.
That's early on. That's really funny.
I know it's early on. I never really watched past much the first season.
We have a joke that reminds me of Freakazoid and Rocco in that episode where we have like he's at the Choky Chicken and which yes is the name of the.
I know about the Choky Chicken.
I'm saying to the kids out there who, one, have no idea what Rocco is, and secondly, what did he say? What with the chicken?
Dragon, I don't even know if they know what choke the chicken actually means.
Oh, I'm sure they know.
I'm sure they have other terminology for it now than choke the chicken.
Right. Several filthy analogies we're not going to utter here, but yes.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure they've come up with other terms that have replaced that.
We'll talk about BDSM, but not that.
I mean, there's probably not a good idea.
Yep. Anyway.
Unless you want to mention one of them.
No.
All right, but as you were saying.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So he's Heifer's in a downward spiral, and he basically bites the give me something, you fry jockey, or something like that. He sees like French fry grease or something on the guy's apron. He bites him.
Oh, because he's a wolf. Because he's.
Yeah. So he what's that? Well, it's cow, but steer.
You think, but he's a wolf. Adopted by a wolf family.
That's true. Raised by wolves.
Yep.
Anyway, so reminds me of this hilarious gag from Freakazoid, from the fanboy episode of Freakazoid in season 1. Like, give me another mango sauce. I think it's a smoothie. Give me another mango. Oh, sorry, a papaya. It was a papaya juice. Give me another papaya juice, Mike. Mike was like, the guy at the papaya stand with, like, he had this paper looked like a guy behind a counter of a diner. It says, "Oh, take it easy, Mr. F. Curse you and your paper hat, your tiny paper hat." Just the fry jockey just saying like no to him, and he's just like not having it because he's drunk on papaya.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah.
On a separate note, again, sponsored, not sponsored. They, People versus Food. They did another one, and amongst many, and they did '90s foods. And one of the '90s foods,
yeah,
chicken from the Choky Chicken.
Nice.
All right. So we have our 3 bugs. They're trying to become alka agents.
And what does Floyd want more than anything?
A monkey.
Yes.
He wants the little sister from Dave the Barbarian.
Not a monkey. Fang. That's a show that also needs to be on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Do you have any idea why it's not on Disney Plus?
I would look optimistically. I would say they're waiting until they're completely desperate and they're going to finally cave and give us all what we want, so we don't abandon ship. I think that's ultimately why. But
Yep.
Think about why they have these things. It's like they haven't put them out there because one, they're going by like what's marketable, and I guess they're evaluating that Dave the Barbarian is not marketable for some reason.
Yeah. I mean,
let's be realistic, though. At some point, they're going to run out of content. And when they do that, then they're going to have to dig deep. And that's when we're going to get stuff like Fillmore and Dave the Barbarian. And
it's amazing.
God forbid.
They have like a select few from the 2000s lineup from their animated shows.
Approximately 5.
Obviously they have like Kim Possible, which is the big one.
No, I thought you meant the ones that haven't been put on there.
No, I'm saying very few that they haven't put on from the early 2000s. I mean, there's they have obviously, like I said, Kim Possible, Teacher's Pet.
Well, Kim Possible is on there.
Like I said, I'm talking about things that they do have.
Oh, they do have.
I said they have very few from that time, and I'm mentioning the ones that they do have.
Oh, okay. And American Dragon, Jake Long.
Yeah, which took a while to get there, but it got there. And those are the only ones I can think of at the moment. I mean, technically, this show kind of counts, but this came out in like 2007, 2006, 2007, and then closer to like 2007, 2008. So that kind of counts, but not, but almost, but kind of that's more late 2000s than anything else. All right, but the monkey, he wants a, but Floyd wants a monkey.
Yep.
But who knows? He might find one at Alka. There's probably there are monkey agents in there somewhere, right?
Yep. Let's see. Wendell wants like a jetpack. We see like the whole Roach Motel thing.
Yep. And I think Napoleon just wants to have the glory of being at the first ever insect agents.
Yeah, he just wants the recognition.
Their applications fell through the cracks because they submitted them on New Year's Day.
Yeah, they get buried in confetti.
Yep.
I love the detail that the letters are like the same color as the confetti.
Yep, and the fact that they're so small that I don't think they even be registered anyway.
Yep. Anyway, so we also have okay, this is a joke that feels as much Rocco as it does Action League now, and I love it.
Okay.
Because it's animated exactly like Rocco, but again, it's a gag that's very Action League now. The fan falling on them. The fan falling on him again is animated brutally like Rocco, but again, like something that would constantly happen on Action League now, where someone would fall and be a blade. We keep destroying the action figures, and a fan was at least one of those many numerous items.
So I mean, a lot of the running gags in these couple episodes are just these episodes that are like the bugs just trying to communicate with humans or doing whatever, and then they get horribly hurt.
Yep. Ouchies.
But you can get away with it because they're bugs, and you see that they're perfectly fine.
Yep.
So yeah, they try and communicate. They're fine. Then the fan falls on them.
Yep. All right. So Carl has fixed Alka's accounting error, which is netted him basically the whole decimal and commas of it all. You turn the decimals to commas, which means Alka secretly had big money the whole time, and Monogram just bounced the books horribly.
Yep. Well, that's government spending for you, I guess.
Yep. So let's talk about the flea collar crisis that's going on.
Yes. So apparently in the mail recently, which apparently they also need a better job vetting the mail, as you probably saw.
Well, we also probably need a vet.
Hold on. There we go.
There you go.
Yes. So they all got new flea collars, and they're not flea collars that get rid of fleas. No, these are literal flea collars. As in, they give the wearer fleas. And not just any fleas.
Robo fleas.
Created by the evil Professor Parenthesis.
Not parenthesis. Parenthesis.
Yes.
Who is played by, and I recognized him the moment I heard him.
Let me guess, did you hear him speak? He's like, is that Paul Rubens?
Yep, it was the first thought I had. Like, come on, it can't be. Is it him? And it's like, yes!
And then you saw the credits, you're like, yep, it's Paul Rubens.
Confirmed after part one, like, okay, I'm not crazy. It is Paul Rubens. Great.
Yep. Immediately recognized the voice.
Yes, because it just sounded like Batman. I loved it.
Yep. Professor Parenthesis, as you can probably surmise by his name. First off, his head looks like a parenthesis.
Yep.
And he also has a very weird habit of of emphasizing the wrong syllables.
Which is great.
Yep. It's parenthesis. I was in the wrong biology class and you barely noticed me.
God, such a wonderful idea with that.
Yep, and it actually does kind of make sense considering the truth about him.
Yep.
So he infested them with the robot. He spent 30 years perfecting a plan.
Yep.
A couple of it was evil genius school. And a lot of time was writing his screenplay. But the other time, he was devoted to the plan. And he seemed to have a beef with Major Monogram.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't remember who he is.
Yep, because he's always like looking down on him.
Oh, yeah, yep, very true.
Yep, so the Robo-Fleas take over the animal agents. Basically putting them under his control.
Which is bad, given the numerous amounts of animal agents who are now essentially now rabid. Or kind of. It could potentially be rabid.
Yeah, and ones that could easily, do severe harm to a human.
Yep.
I mean, they're elephants, gorillas, whales.
Yep.
I don't know how, remember, this isn't the first time we've seen a whale agent.
Nope.
Remember, we saw one using the sauna before. So they realize that the only hope that they have to save Alka is Perry, his agent P, and his new recruits. Kind of like a ragtag group, kind of like a standard ragtag group plot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it works for what the episode's trying to achieve. The usual lone wolf having to guide the new recruits, and then learning the value of teamwork along the way.
We have the mission brief on the go joke with Monogram, where he's on a hand card. Just not going well for him.
Yep, Carl on his attempts to run away keeps doing turns and then manages to trip everyone up.
Yep.
So.
All right, so now, unfortunately, Doofenshmirtz's missiles that he debuted earlier, he suggested using during the training exercise they launched, and that probably didn't land anywhere important. Well, they landed in the Flynn Fletcher home.
Yeah, but fortunately, they're not armed.
Yeah. So, but then, of course, they start beeping, like, Doofenshmirtz takes them out, okay, listen, Better Plus, everything's going to be okay, and this, boom, just, middle of the house, just completely just decimated, gone.
Yep, the house is completely destroyed.
It's like that scene Cat in the House, just completely in shambles.
Yep. And they're like, and Duke's like, Alka has money now. They can just replace everything with similar duplicates.
Yep, they can pull an Invincible season 2.
Kind of, yeah. This show is ahead of its time, like I said.
Yep, everything but a cabinet.
Everything but a cabinet. And apparently the wrong tree.
Yeah.
Apparently the wrong kind of tree too. So they didn't exactly do the best job.
Oh, I forgot to ask you, Jacob. Do you know what time it is?
Yes, I do, Dragon.
It's Gritty Reboot time. Jacob, you ever wonder what the gritty reboot of Alka Files might look like?
Well, one venue that I could potentially explore is if the family wasn't gone when the missiles hit.
Exactly. So it was the big Lindelof-esque kind of misdirect where you think it's going to be this one kind of show, and then Perry Platypus's family. We have to explain what's not going to be in the show. So Doofenshmirtz, he accidentally murdered him, and that's going to be the central conflict. That's why these two don't get along. He murdered his whole family and tossed his keepsake in the toilet.
Yep.
He's gonna have some feelings about that. Oh, how wacky! And the hyenas just laughing at their misfortune. Yep.
Of course, you know who's doing the vocals for Harry the Hyena, right? It's D. Bradley Baker.
Yep.
For who's doing the voices. But did you recognize the voice of Maggie the macaw?
I don't think so.
Jane Kaczmarek.
Oh! Well,
Yep.
it's kind of a thankless role for Doofenshmirtz, but okay.
Well, remember, she did appear in a previous episode, so maybe they just had her do it for this. So
Ah, there you go.
if they say, "Hey, we're doing this. Would you like doing the voice?" Sure, why not?
Yeah. I'll take the bump.
Yep. So, what happens next? Or do you have any more gritty reboot planned?
No, I think it's good. I think we killed the whole family. I think we're good. Yeah, they're all
Like,
over there, and up there. They're all gone.
like over there, staining the wall.
Yep. Oh, look at look at that triangular stain. We know who that one is. Oh boy, that's.
I'm gonna take that quote. It's like, oh, we only murdered their family. They're fine. I'm gonna take that out of context for.
Like, oh no, look at the bow. I mean, oh, Isabella was there, and she just expressed her feelings because this is after the show. Oh no, this was like the moment too, and yeah.
I'm gonna take that quote of yours out of context, Dragon.
I know you will.
It's like, oh, we just murdered their whole family. They're fine. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
No, we killed them all. It's fine.
So, fortunately, Professor Parenthesis didn't have the foresight to hide his return address on his package, or maybe he did it because to lure them into a trap. Who knows? But so that leads them to the Grand Canyon, Arizona.
Yeah.
And you can tell Perry's had a long trip. Right, Dragon?
Yeah, so we've outfitted the hover car.
Yep. using the leftover junk from Perry's now destroyed lair.
And his dead family, but you know. So no, we know they're fine, but it's a mid credit though. So people left early, they'll never know.
Unless Alco replaced them too.
Yep, maybe.
Remember
Robots.
Carl's robots, yeah.
Yep. Or is it Carl in a wig? Is it Carl dressed like Linda?
like a Linda suit.
Well, yeah.
But remember, Buford does have those life-size molds of everyone.
But the molds too.
Buford has molds for all of us, Candace.
I mean, who even made those molds for Buford? Carl trying to earn a buck because he's unpaid.
Yep. But yep. So he turned to Buford as a supplier for the robot molds.
Yep. It's like that episode of Batman Beyond. It's like the Synthoid episode. Like, you know, Terry's friend dates a robot.
Yep. Jinx.
Yep.
Yep.
Right, so.
It's like Buford has. I still say that's the scariest thing about that is Linda knows about it. Buford has molds for all of us, Candace. And she's not concerned about it at all.
Yep.
But maybe
there was like an unholy modeling gig that Linda took part in.
Oh, God.
She talked the whole family into it too, but you know.
Yep. Somehow.
This is culture, kids.
I thought he was Dutch.
Anyway.
Eh.
Well.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. So yeah, they've outfitted the hover car to like clunkily fit everyone, and Doofenshmirtz is getting on Perry's last nerve.
Well, they all kind of are.
They all are, but especially Doofenshmirtz. Like, don't you hate that, Perry the Platypus? You see like the bloodshot eyes. Like, oh god.
It's like you can tell just Perry's just like fighting the urge to just dump them all out of the car.
Yep.
Or if he could talk, he would just turn around and say like, "If you guys don't shut up right now, I'm gonna turn this thing around."
Hmm?
We've all been there, right, Dragon?
Indeed, we have.
Perry's just like fighting the urge just to do another gritty reboot.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna really gritty reboot you by dumping you into the Colorado River.
Yeah.
I thought we were in Arizona. But anyway, so an early hint at Parenthesis' true form is when he just sits down and just eats with an eye droplet.
Yeah.
If
The
you, if, you,
eyedropper.
if you think about it, that is kind of a good clue that he's not necessarily human.
Yeah, something's off with this guy. So Doofenshmirtz is instructed to wait by the coffee shop.
Yep.
Get everyone some coffee, and I love the gag where he actually have everyone's coffee orders, and he got like a scone.
But it cost $5. I only got one.
It's really funny.
Yep.
So he basically feels very abandoned there. His parents just like told him just to wait there while they all go inside. But again, his expertise, he knows how CFIT works or CFIT works.
Yep. The trap. And then he knows that Professor Parenthesis obviously has a trap.
Yep.
So speaking of which, like
the lava lamp.
So what'd you make of the whole song with him waiting outside? They left me waiting outside bit.
That was good.
Yep. Did you recognize the singer of that episode, of that song?
No, I didn't.
Kenny Loggins.
Oh, hey.
Yep, they got Kenny Loggins to sing it. I believe, and I don't know if I'm misremembering this, but it says like one of the last things recorded for the entire series was that song. Like I think that was like wasn't the last song they did. Obviously, not the last song played in the episode, but I think it was like the last song they actually recorded, and they played off with Kenny Loggins. Pretty nice, huh?
Yeah.
It's like so Doofenshmirtz realizes that he needs to save his team after they get trapped in a tube and all that.
And then Doofenshmirtz makes things worse. He ends up getting like the giant flaming wrecking ball in the tube.
Yep. But anyway, at least he's trying.
It's a heck of a death trap, by the way, because you got like
you have the tube, you have the fire, you have the explosives,
crocodiles,
basically for extra measure.
A little reminiscent of Megamind.
And Susan.
Yep.
I don't think it's supposed to be Susan and Susan, but so Dragon, based on the Megamind comparison, would you surmise if Professor Parenthesis is a super villain or just a regular villain?
I'm just gonna say, well, I don't know, maybe super villain.
Because does he have the presentation?
Maybe, I don't know. What do you think? You got presentation?
Well, I mean, he has the neat lair, the bugs.
I mean, he had a lava lamp too, man. I gotta say, he's a little bit about presentation.
Yeah. So I think you would kind of fit the criteria there.
I love the named henchmen. Like the henchmen are was it Susan, Jim, Tracy, and
Connie.
The best one. You know why the Connie one cracks me up?
Why is that?
So in Pee-wee's Big Holiday, his car is named Little Connie.
Was Pee-wee's Big Holiday before or after this?
Oh, depends. What year did this come out?
In 2015, I think.
This was after. But this was before.
So it's just kind of a retroactively funny kind of thing.
Yes.
All right, that makes sense.
I mean, look, he could have used Little Connie somewhere else. I'm just saying the fact they named the car Little Connie in Big Holiday, it's just kind of funny.
All right.
Little Connie!
Now, if one of them was named Marge or something like that, that would have been a more direct reference.
Oh, you're right. That would have been. Okay, anyway, so Doofenshmirtz is...
it's like he made like an extra large robot and then named it Marge.
Tell him large Marge sent you. Then we found the robot was never alive to begin with.
All right. So after the escape, the death trap, which Doofenshmirtz somehow managed to make even more deadly, Perry just up and leaves.
Yeah.
Seemingly deciding to go it alone. before Doofenshmirtz peps them all up with a song. Admittedly, not one of my favorite songs.
Oh, it's kind of like the hip bone's connected to the leg bone kind of a song, but
Yeah, it's still not one of my favorites though.
All right. Though they can't all be jammers.
I'm not saying they should be, but I'm just saying if I was going to listen to an album, I'd probably skip it. If that makes sense. If I had like a great big playlist of songs from this show, I would not include it on there. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Speaking of playlists, I actually made a playlist on my own channel for this, for all the recaps that we've done so far.
Oh.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Pretty neat.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of proud about that. I think so. If anybody wants to check that out, I should probably have linked it in the description. I had it for a couple of weeks. I meant to do it for Night of the Living Pharmacist, and now I forgot to do it for this. But that aside, so Dragon, what happens next?
Let's see. Okay, so again, everyone's they're kind of broken up for a sec there, and now they're all united, but they have to again. Seemingly, Perry has kind of left them in the lurch.
Oh yeah,
they got to work together as a team without an eye.
Yep. So they, but then Perry makes it to the facility to fight Dr. Parenthesis. Well, actually, we should probably talk about what Monogram and Carl have been up to this whole time.
A lot of posing.
Yep. And they make it to Carl's office.
Which is Carl has a really nice office.
Yep, and apparently it's a lot bigger than Monogram's.
Oh man, it looks glorious, and also the bear suit that was like a gift from the contractor, and they get dressed up in the bear suit.
Which is funny because, as you remember, he is a contractor. They don't do much.
That's true.
This contractor apparently is one of the good ones. The one that does do things.
Every time I think of contractor jokes, I always think of this, the American Dad Bond parody episode where we had like this running gag.
Tearjerker.
Yeah, Tearjerker, the first one, where we had
the first one. Was there another one?
Yeah, there's another one. I don't know if there's probably been more because they're kind of bankrupt creatively on American Dad these days. But they had the Tearjerker, and then you had the other one, and then the other one was Black Villain. I was literally his name was Black Villain. I was like,
I didn't actually know there was a second one.
Yeah, there's a second one.
Huh. Because Tearjerker was great.
I know Tearjerker's great. The other one's not as good as Tearjerker. I'm going to tell you that right now. But Tearjerker,
Tearjerker's like the best episode of the series, basically.
Yeah.
Well, one of them anyway. Rapture's Delight comes close. Or it's like Rapture's Delight and Tearjerker are probably my two favorite episodes.
Really? You like Rapture's Delight that much?
I mean, I like it. I like it. Considering it is kind of funny. It has a nice emotional center at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we have like a Gorshin-like Antichrist, so
Yeah, that too. I mean, that works too.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I getting at? All right. Yeah, so in the Tearjerker, you had the Mike the Contractor. Mike, you're the worst contractor ever. Is the idea that like the contractors screw. What if a contractor screwed a Bond villain at every turn? Because contractors can do that. It's the idea that he's like the pool is like like the tour leads directly to Tearjerker's office. Just cracks me up so much.
That is funny.
Yep, and it has like this whole elaborate thing. It's like a jetpack and everything, all just to walk like about 10 feet.
Yep, and I love Tearjerker. It's a great episode. So but was that in the new one? That was in Tearjerker, right?
Was what in Tearjerker?
The whole tour thing, right?
Yeah, it's in the original Tearjerker. Yeah.
Was Roger the villain in the new one, in the new episode too?
Well, no, he's still Tearjerker, but it was like this whole thing of like Tearjerker. He needed Tearjerker's help to stop Black Villain.
All right, so it's the villain team up episode then.
Yeah. Well, like the hero teaming up with the villain, but yeah,
that's what I meant. So it's not just like doing another when it's like a straight up sequel. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like so yeah. Carl's been appropriating a bit of the budget, misappropriating some of the budget.
Yep.
You know what that means, Dragon.
Dang it, Carl.
Yep.
Well, I was thinking more so I had a different dang it, Carl, honestly.
Well, we can do a different one when you're ready.
All right, okay, well, you hit him with yours then.
That's like so obvious. So Carl, he misappropriated funds. It's like he's not only did he scanned a bunch of money out of about it to basically give himself. I guess it could kind of be seen as like revenge for not being paid.
Well, yeah.
For not being paid for so long. So
Yeah.
so I'm trying to think which one of these Carls would not do what Carl did.
Fredrickson.
If Fredrickson would, he's not necessarily good with money, but he definitely wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You're right.
He wouldn't skim from the top.
No. Neither would. Now, what about Beaumont? What would he do?
Well, well, Carl was. Yeah, Beaumont probably would. He probably would skim from the top, but
I mean, he wasn't with the mob.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, the Aqua Teen Hunger Force Carl would also do it. So let's be honest.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
Another one that wouldn't. I don't think Carl from SpongeBob would.
No, he wouldn't.
Now his bosses might.
Well, yeah,
but not him. All right. So in order to sneak past all the animals, they dress up in a giant bear suit, a giant teddy bear suit.
Yep, and they end up, just sneaking around to the escape pod.
I regret nothing.
So
you know that one. You get the reference there, right?
Yeah.
To the escape pod. I regret nothing. Binky did it, by the way. And by the way, Binky was voiced by D. Baker. So
I know. Oh, well aware. Yep.
So there's a connection there.
God, I always love that Jorgen and Binky had like this odd friendship.
Yeah, where Binky just keeps getting destroyed by Jorgen.
It was adorable. They were like Binky was sick and like Jorgen was like reading them the bedtime story about Timmy.
And then he would also go and like hurt Binky whenever he did something.
Yep.
Oh god.
Very Odd Parents had a good yet had a brief run of good. I don't want to say a brief run, but they had like a brief run where things were actually good.
I mean, like the first few seasons, like were actually very good.
That's what I mean. First few seasons, very good, and then we are. But at one point, I want to say,
I think it was probably after Steve Marmol left.
And probably I forget if like that was after Channel Chases or not. That's the thing. If I had to pinpoint it, it would.
I mean, Channel Chases, because I guess there's like Abracatastrophe, then like Channel Chasers.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those are great, by the way.
As I'm saying that, and of course you get your crossovers with Jimmy Neutron, but that's kind of separate though. That doesn't really count in terms of like
the Jimmy Timmy Power Hours.
Yeah. But I mean, look, at even as glowing as I am about Jimmy Neutron, it was a bit of the first. It had some rough moments here and there. I think the first one particularly is because a lot of I still think with the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, the problem was. I don't know how, I forget how deep we were in the Fairly Odd Parents, but it was a week when you started to realize that there is an unlikability in Timmy's world that you have to find a balance of. And that was like maybe an unbalanced example of it, where it's like, man, everyone's really jerks in Timmy's universe compared to, Jimmy's universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like really like, man, like just completely, I don't know.
Yeah, but
It wasn't a deal. It wasn't a deal breaker, just not the greatest moment.
At least in the first few seasons, they were funny jerks.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. There's like a balance, and it just feels like maybe Hartman going for the easy joke at times on that one. But
Yep. And of course, I just earlier today I was looking up the whole like, "Oh Timmy, I'm respecting your privacy by knocking, but asserting my authority as a father by coming in anyway."
Really, you were doing that? Was today you did that?
Yeah, I was looking. I remembered. I saw something about it, and I remembered it today, and I looked it up. I just thought it was funny. Come on.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying it's very serendipitous. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's just like, man, it's really convenient for us.
Yep. So yeah, and not to mention, I did meet the voice of Vicky last week.
Yeah.
So there is that. Oh, speaking of which, I do have an addendum to that. One of the other costumes that I saw that I didn't get a picture of. Bunny Bulma.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't get a picture of that one, unfortunately.
Why? What's wrong with you? Why did you not get a picture of that?
Because every time I saw her, she was busy doing something else.
Fine.
Yep, so. Yep, and that's the other reason, like, Fairly Odd Barons and Danny Phantom, among other things, have been on my mind lately. I heard the person who plays Vicky actually be Vicky in person. I even heard her say "bed twerp" while I was waiting in line. So there's that. All right. Moving on. Dragon, what do you want to say next? Other than being jealous of the fact that I met Great Lyle.
Well, let's see. Okay, anyway, so they enter the escape pods.
I regret nothing.
Yeah, no, don't start that again, or else we're never going to get this episode done.
I know.
So they get into the pods, and they're a complete lockdown. It bounces around, will not open, and then lo and behold,
Parenthesis just walks inside.
Jacob, why does Parenthesis walk inside? Tell the folks.
Because it opens from the outside, sir.
A moment like that just makes you want to collectively go,
"Dang it, Carl."
Yep. Dang it, Carl.
I'll even play the sound clip again.
Carl.
There we go.
Even Monogram goes like, ugh.
just hilarious.
Meaning they could have just had Perry just walk in the front door and have open it this whole time.
Yep, just a wonderfully stupid moment for Carl.
Yep.
All right, let's see. So which Carl would make the stupid mistake, and which Carl would not make this stupid mistake?
Well, we definitely know which one would.
Yeah, we do.
Do we even need to say it, Dragon?
Now let's just look at the guilty party and wheeze.
Carl.
Carl.
Sorry. I was distracted by the llamas.
I don't have a problem.
Oh God. Yeah, that was fun. God. All right, so probably also from Johnny Bravo. I wouldn't trust him with this security system either.
No.
And I don't know, the minion I think probably would be good at security. Probably maybe not the specific minion, but minions as a whole. I don't know.
I don't know about that. I'm thinking.
Yeah. Then again.
Yeah.
Combat Carl definitely would not make that error.
I think Combat Carl would be good for this. I mean, look, I think Carl would do a serviceable job, but I don't think it. I think things would get past him.
Carl the robot also wouldn't make this kind of mistake.
I don't know. I mean, Wilbur Robinson, he made that mistake. Like, he left the garage door open.
But did it?
I don't know I don't know how complicit Carl was in that or not. I mean, if Carl was,
was Carl created by Wilbur or Lewis?
No, he was created by Lewis.
Or Cornelius, as he's known in the future.
Well, yeah.
Spoiler alert for a movie that came out almost 20 years ago.
Well, crossover of the two Carls here. in the movie Up, uh, Russell's original name was Lewis. Spelled
Huh.
differently, but it was going to be Lewis.
Was it like L? It was supposed to be like Louis?
I'm pretty sure.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, so they changed it because of Meet the Robinsons. That's originally they realized, oh crap, they're making Meet the Robinsons. We should change this name.
Yeah, and right.
See, they knew it was a quality movie. Unfortunately, the rest of the world did not.
Now, was he still modeled after Peter Sohn at that point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was still like the same model of it. It was just that was the original name.
All right. All right. That's good to know. And
Yeah,
fun fact, as you know, I also met the director of Meet the Robinsons.
I know. Yeah. Did you tell him? Did you tell him about about the dang it Carl charge?
No, unfortunately, that didn't cross my mind.
Hmm.
I don't think he would have understood the context.
Well, it sounds like you didn't really have a lot going on, Jake. You probably could have sat down and did an interview with him.
Like I probably could have, but like I don't. When I was wearing a fedora during the interview, and he cross-referenced it with Indiana Jones rather than my shirt, so I don't know how familiar he is with Phineas and Ferb.
Nah.
And besides, I had other questions I wanted to ask him anyway.
All right, okay. The point being, it's a very stupid mistake for Carl to make.
Yep. Maybe that's what he gets for cheaping out on the security system. So
Yep.
meanwhile, the bugs are exploring alternate methods to get noticed, including photocopying themselves.
And earlier they tried doing a light show, which ended up with them being burned by a magnifying glass, like
Yep.
set on fire, burned.
Yep, and being not only that, they alerted all the animals to Monogram and Carl's presence.
Not helpful. Not good agent material.
No, it's like so, but interesting things happen when Wendell is pulling up Floyd. It's like when when he hits his head, Floyd is suddenly cognizant. It's like I got in order for us to be noticed, we right, Dragon.
Yep, he just bonks him on the head. He said, "All goes." It's kind of it's kind of like there's this gag. It's a very get smart gag. Well, I'm sorry, I can't just localize that to Get Smart, but I bring it up because there's this great joke in Get Smart. I had a guy who was like he was a hunchback and he got he got hit during the fight and he was like standing upright and things like, oh, this is great. And like the bad guy, this is like a henchman, so the bad guy, Tom Poston wonderfully played. He was the mad scientist. He like patted his Igor like assistant like now on his upright back, and then he toppled back over like, oh, sorry about that.
Yep, that does sound like Get Smart.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like Wendell, I've had an epiphany. In order for us to attain our noble goal, we must evaluate the. It's like I like trains.
God.
So do you think it might actually be entirely Wendell's fault that Floyd is the way he is?
I mean, I think it was just this incident in which he could have, it's really horrible that he basically he had a cure all and now it's gone. But I don't know. It might be. Is it more tragic or funny if it is Wendell's doing, like from the beginning?
Did you say tragic or funny?
Yeah.
The answer to that is yes.
Okay.
Two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you find humor in the tragedy. Also, somehow Floyd can survive getting his head cut off. I'll go get
what's a bug thing though? That's possible.
I'll go get the gauze. So yeah, they straight up depict decapitation in this show.
But it's a bug, so it's okay.
Yep.
Well, so long as he's okay too. I mean, that's the thing. Sometimes you can do horrible things to a bug, and it will not be good. Like the Ren and Snippy episode we don't want to talk about.
Are you talking about the?
Yes, the Spike TV years. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of figured the
adult party cartoon era. That's
the therapy episode.
Yeah, the therapy episode. It's very messed up.
Yeah, it is. I've only seen snippets of that from reviewers, and I don't desire to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the sooner we drop this contented, the better.
All right, we'll go on.
Other than saying the original Ren and Stimpy, very good.
Oh, true. Very true. Don't you whiz on the electric fence.
Basically driven entirely on insanity in its own right, but at least it was tempered insanity.
Yes, that's true.
So the photocopy actually works. It actually is like, I'm glad, and they're glad that the lid didn't fall on them, even though it looked like it was about to.
Yep. Instead, just random falling fan. They can't catch a break.
Yep. Yep. They were safe. Hey, at least they didn't get crushed by the electric glass, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's coming up Millhouse for them, right?
Yep.
All right, so Perry and the gang, so Perry makes it back, and they manage to take down the henchmen. So basically, Perry, speaking of decapitations, he decapitates Professor Parenthesis with a sofa.
Yep. And I love that Yeah, what?
Yeah, go on.
Jacob, I think you know what time it is.
Once again,
it's Gritty Reboot time.
Yay.
Oh, so,
do you want me to bring up the children again?
Do you want to involve the children in this, Jacob?
I don't know, Dragon. We've been involving the children this entire time. We only do it once per episode.
All right, fine. Little Blue missed it earlier. Anyway, do it.
All right, so
it's
Gritty
Reboot time.
There we go.
So, yeah, Perry killed the guy. Perry just, he's feeling really mad about Doofenshmirtz killing his whole family earlier, so he's taking it out on the bad guy here. He with a punch, what was it, a kick or a punch?
Like, well, what happened was like he used the sofa from the used the sofa and like basically had used it as a pendulum and to get down there, and it took off Parenthesis's head.
And Monogram's in agreement with us here. He thought that's what he initially thought. Like, oh no, Agent P's killed a man.
It's kind of funny how the show is like it's not what you think. It's not what you think. Like it's like, oh, okay, now I'm confused. What did you think I meant? Yep. But as it turns, are you done with the Gritty Reboot, or do you have more?
I mean, I think he pretty brutally on a kids' TV show decapitated seemingly a human being, at least for a while.
Yeah, but then it turns out it's a robot being piloted.
A robot.
He's taken over the world. Our world.
No.
And do you know what the worst part is, Dragon?
What?
He got the Navy.
Not the Navy! Educational television! No! It's so horrible we don't even see it.
Yeah. Educational television. Oh, God.
Fate worse than death.
And this was after he went through cheese graters.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know how bad educational television can be, unless it's certain PBS programming we like.
Yeah,
that we miss.
Well, it's coming back.
Are you sure? I thought PBS is well, okay,
I mean, PBS is still there, and if you're talking about like Sesame Street, that's coming to Netflix.
Yeah, but still, it's the fact that now it used to be like, and the whole point of PBS is like, hey, this is something free for the kids to learn from.
Well, we'll see how that goes. I think PBS is still involved in it, though.
Yeah.
I don't really know all the details. I don't really want to get into it here either way.
Yeah.
So yeah, like educational television.
Oh
no! But yeah, so we find out that Professor Parenthesis is actually a flea.
Yep, he's a blue flea in fuzzy pink slippers.
Yep. And his beef with Major Monogram. What is his beef? Always looking down on him.
You're a flea.
Oh, there it is again. Dragon, it's a bit. Would you say that's prejudiced at all for Monogram, or is it because he had no idea that he even existed? Because he's a flea.
I think it's an interesting HR issue. I'll say that much.
It's like and he's lived a long time for a flea if he's been around for 30 years, right?
Yep.
I wonder what I'm checking the average flea lifespan, and it says the average is like 2 to 3 months.
Well, maybe it's 2 to 3 months that felt like 30 years. You ever think about that?
I mean, it's entirely possible, but he was able to build that and all of that in 2 to 3 months.
Well, maybe he's preserved in the machinery, like the alien from Men in Black.
It's like, or maybe it's just like he's been kept alive so long out of spite.
There you go. He refuses to die until he gets his revenge
On Major Monogram.
God.
Like,
Stop saying my name like that.
Like, what was it that sold you that yep, this is Paul Rubens?
Well, it was definitely delivery like that. It was like, okay, that's him.
That's Paul Rubens.
Yeah, it's Rubens.
Like, when he's like, Major Monogram. It's like, so yeah, they come up with
Francis Monogram.
Yep. So speaking of bugs, Wendell, Floyd, and Napoleon come up with the idea like a paper airplane. Now, and the only thing they need now is a rubber band and tie it to 2 palm trees.
Which is a reference to when Phineas and Ferb did it.
Yep. Like, you watch too many cartoons, Wendell. Well, just the one show. Yep. The little self pat on the back there.
And someone just yelled, like, get on the trike!
There's no way I'm gonna get on the trike!
And we have, we smash cut to, Parenthesis, like, getting on an awesome red bicycle.
It's like, I don't want to ride a tricycle.
I want my bicycle!
I went on a big adventure to find it and everything.
I can ride on it sideways. Without falling. I meant to do that.
I meant to do that.
Yep.
I have seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure, though. I have not seen Big Top Pee-wee.
You don't need Big Top Pee-wee. You need Big Holiday, though.
I think I've seen that, too.
All right, well, you're all good.
Yeah, because I think we all did like a spoiler cast for when it came to Netflix.
I don't know if it was before your time or not. Probably.
I think it was. I'll double check on that, but I do remember. But I know I have not actually watched Pee-wee's Playhouse.
I think we were stuck with Sandy on that one. I don't know if you were there.
Well, I can check on that. I don't know. Like I said, I know I haven't seen Pee-wee's Playhouse. So, but yep, I was there for Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
Anyway.
Yep.
So
I gotta go on.
Perry uses the training exercises to kind of this awesome battle with Parenthesis and the company when he turns into this giant kind of robot
with tentacles and all that.
Oh yeah.
But then he does have a bit of difficulty. Parenthesis has a bit of difficulty finding a little teal platypus in a carnival. But Doofenshmirtz and the rest show up and help Perry take down the robots.
So we go full circle with the opening, in which we're seeing the mission go successfully, and it works until Parenthesis just like tear through the gate.
Yep.
But they have an ace up their sleeve, or a little kitty,
Karen the cat, who's this entire time has just been this basically absent-minded cat
that keeps landing on Doofenshmirtz's feet.
Cat always lands on my feet. And so, it turns out Karen is actually quite handy with her claws. You can take down any robot in an instant. And so, Dragon, how was Parenthesis taken down?
Well, so again, after like my Snippy, after the slipper, he's kind of stumbling, and we have the fan. The fan takes him out.
Yep. The bugs are using the fan to guide their image through there. They miss. It's been a pleasure serving with you all. Reference to Doctor Strangelove there, and Titanic at the same time, because he's playing the violin. Parenthesis looks like a cheese stick. I suppose he does. Kind of does.
Yep.
I mean, he looks more like a parenthesis. I was about to say it like parenthesis because I've been saying it that way this entire time.
Parenthesis.
Yeah. So.
Forget presentation. Parenthesis.
It'd be probably like presentation.
That's right.
Probably that's probably how he'd say it.
Yeah.
It's like, but so the fan falls off. So the fan falls off. Basically, kind of brutally hurting Professor Parenthesis. Perry traps in a pill jar. Initially, Napoleon, and before that, the trainees get their black headbands.
Yep.
They're officially becoming O.W.C.A agents.
And then the missiles go off again. Now they destroy O.W.C.A again, which basically the bug agents, they were about to go down like the Titanic, landed on O.W.C.A, which now got destroyed by missiles.
We take this as a sign. It's like they're initially like gonna give up. Like we will be the best agents ever.
They go out with a bang.
Yep.
And we have like this fun end credit kind of titles.
Like of potential adventures that could have been.
Yep.
The bugs are in this episode as well. Yep. Yes, they are. So we see them like taking on underwater villains, running a restaurant in the bayou, among other things.
Mm-hmm.
As we wonder what might have been. Could they have? Could the show have? Could this have killed Dragon? Now that we've got to the end of this, do you think that the show could have stood on its own, or do you think it's best that it was just a standalone spin-off? Standalone.
I mean, I could see him. I could see him switching off now and again to episodes like this.
You mean like as if it was like they'd like ran concurrently, like one episode was like Phineas and Ferb, the other one was O.W.C.A Files kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, if they wanted to, I mean,
kind of like Eve, kind of like Grim and Evil, kind of.
A little bit, yeah.
Kind of like how that worked out.
The real question is, if they did that, would they like trim out the Perry Platypus and Doofenshmirtz stuff in the main Phineas and Ferb plots?
That would be an idea because they have to cut because Doofenshmirtz obviously wouldn't be a villain in those, and unless they want to explain like, oh, it's happening at different times, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yep.
Unfortunately, we'll never know. For as I said right now, as of now, this just stands as what was originally the grand finale of the show. It was just basically a final standalone special after the last day of summer aired. I could see Algo where I was working as a finished first version of Dial M for Monkey or the Justice Friends. I mean, what do you think, Dragon?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it could work as like kind of the additional kind of, like the. Well, I don't know. I keep wanting to say kind of like a package film of sorts, but like kind of the other vignette within the bunch. So yeah.
I personally think that this would probably be better suited to like be like its own episode instead of just like those short 7 minute segments like Dial-In from Monkey and Justice Friends are. But I can see it. I could potentially see it kind of working every now and then as like 11-minute episodes. But as we said, we'll never know. And now it's just this thing that exists within the show's continuity. It's dubious. Who knows? I don't even know if the creators know, and it just now is part of it. All right. There was just I kind of thought I was going to say, but now I forget what it was going to be. So let's just close things off. Final thoughts, Dragon?
Wait, did we cover Dakota?
Dakota?
Yes, Dakota.
All right, Dakota. Okay. Phineas and Ferb are the Flint Fletcher family.
They're not dead.
Yeah, they're not dead. They're just eating dinner, they're eating dinner at their home, and Phineas is like, "Are these new plates? I mean, they look the same, but it feels as though they were replaced by exact copies." Yes, and the tree in the backyard is now a pine.
Mm.
Yep. And sure enough, their tree is different.
Dang it, Carl. The tree's been the same for like God knows how many days in this infinite summer, and you couldn't get it right.
He's been in their backyard, too.
Yeah, I mean, he has molds of them, for Christ's sake.
He has robots. Buford has the molds.
Sorry, yeah. Well, yeah, they had to get the mold. I still think there's some conjunction there to get the measurements and everything. I think he's dealing with Buford on the side to get Buford's molds to make the robots.
Yep.
He's got robots of them. They're under surveillance, so they have at least one picture, one photo of that tree.
And it's not there.
Yeah.
And final fact. This is the last episode of the original series, not counting the episodes we have yet to cover, to be storyboard driven. All future episodes are script driven instead.
Oh.
Yep. According to the wiki, the episodes in season 5 going onward are scripts. Because here that's like it seems like someone comes up with a story, then it's written and storyboarded by the same people. But from what I can tell in 5, it's written, and then they have a separate team who does the storyboards. So there's that. And again, for a while, this is the last we ever saw, for a couple of years anyway. This is the last we ever saw Phineas and Ferb and Perry and Doofenshmirtz and all the rest. So, but it's not the last we see of them. As far as this recap goes, because we have a couple more episodes to go. Specifically, we only have, I believe, 2 episodes left to go. We have next week's episode and the one after that. So thank you, Aquatad Little Blue, for joining us. And Dragon, any closing thoughts?
No.
Okay, all right. So yep. There are only 2 more episodes left of the original run that we have to go over. Then we can go straight into season 5. And Dragon, I forgot to mention this earlier at the beginning. Today is actually officially the first day of summer in real life. So what do you make of that? Probably would have been good to mention up front, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep, so happy first day of summer, everyone. So, and Dragon, we're so close to the end. We only have one 22-minute episode left, and then another hour long, and then we can move on to season 5. So, thank you all for joining. Yep. So join us next week for another glimpse into the future. So, are you going to extend the summer solstice now? Are we going around the world to extend the summer solstice now? If only. I mean, with stops in Paris, in Tokyo, Paris, all around bouncing around the world, that kind of thing. Maybe India, the Himalayas, that kind of thing, right, Dragon?
Somewhere in the Himalayas, yeah.
Yep. Who knows? Maybe we'll find the magical tiny bathing suit that lives there.
Yeah.
So be sure to join us next week for another glimpse into the future, where the kids go to college, kids prepare to go to college, and Doofenshmirtz wants to face a midlife crisis. Good night, everybody.